My name is Nikki. I am 19 years old, but this story began when I was 18, the year my life changed forever. I still remember the day my stepmother told me I was going to get married. I was standing in the kitchen washing dishes after school. I thought it was just another ordinary day. Then she called my name. She said, "Nikki, come sit down." Her voice sounded calm, but something felt wrong. I dried my hands slowly and sat across from her. My stepmother looked at me carefully. She said, "Nikki, you are getting married soon." At first, I thought I misunderstood. I said, "Married?" She said, "Yes, a good man wants you." My heart began to beat fast. I said, "I don't understand. I want to finish school." She smiled, but her eyes were cold. She said, "You don't have a choice." Then she left the room. Before that day, my life was simple. My mother died when I was very young. I barely remembered her face, but I remembered her kindness. My father raised me alone for many years. He used to laugh often. He helped me with homework. He called me his little star. Then he married my stepmother. At first, she acted kind. She cooked my favorite meals. She asked about my studies. She bought me a dress once, and I believed she truly cared. But slowly, everything changed. Her words became sharp. "Why are you so slow?" she would say while I cleaned. "Other girls work harder." No matter how much I tried, it was never enough. I woke up early. I cleaned the house. I cooked dinner. I studied at night. Still, she complained. The hardest part was my father. He stopped defending me. Whenever I tried to explain how I felt, he only said, "Listen to your stepmother. She knows what is best." Each time he said that, something inside me hurt deeply because he used to protect me. Now he stayed silent. After she announced the marriage, my life became smaller. She controlled everything. I could not meet friends. She checked my phone. She watched me like a guard watching a prisoner. One evening, I heard her talking on the phone. She said, "Yes, she is quiet and obedient. She will be a perfect wife." My heart began to beat fast. They were talking about me like I was an object, not a person, not a daughter, just something to give away. The next morning, my stepmother gave me a dress. She said, "Wear this, Nikki." I said, "Why?" She said, "You will meet your future husband." My heart stopped. I said, "I don't want to meet him." Her face became hard. She said, "You will do what I say." I looked at my father. I said, "Please, Father, tell her I don't want this." He sighed. He said, "It is a good opportunity, Nikki. Please go and get ready." A good opportunity for who? Not for me. But my father did not listen. We drove to a big house outside the city. The house was full of expensive things, but I felt empty inside. A man waited in the living room. He was much older than me, older than my father, maybe 50 years old. He looked at me and smiled. He said, "She looks obedient." I felt sick. I whispered, "I am not." My stepmother squeezed my arm painfully. They talked about me as if I wasn't there. My stepmother said, "Nikki cooks well. She stays home. She doesn't argue." I wanted to disappear. Finally, I spoke. I said, "I don't want this marriage." The room became silent. The man frowned. He said, "Young girls talk too much." My father avoided my eyes. On the way home, no one spoke, but I knew something terrible had already been decided. That night, I packed a small bag, just clothes, my school notebook, and a photo of my mother. I thought about running away, but where could I go? I had no money, no plan, and no one to help me. I cried until morning came. Days passed quickly. Then my stepmother announced my engagement. She said, "The wedding will be next month." I said, "No." She smiled coldly. She said, "If you refuse, you will leave this house with nothing." I felt angry. I said, "I already have nothing." For a moment, she looked surprised. Later, my father came to talk to me. He said, "We have money problems. This man will help our family." I stared at him. I said, "So you are selling me?" His face changed. He said, "Don't say that." I said, "But it feels true." I waited for him to protect me. He didn't. That was the moment I realized I was completely alone. The engagement day arrived faster than I expected. I didn't sleep the night before. I held my mother's photo and said, "Please help me." Morning came. 2 women entered my room to dress me. I resisted. I said, "Don't touch me." But they held my arms and forced me to change clothes. I looked at my father. "Please," I cried. He watched quietly. He did nothing. My heart broke. The ceremony was full of people. Music played, guests laughed. Everyone looked happy except me. I sat beside the man who was supposed to become my husband. He leaned closer. He said, "You will get used to this." Then someone brought the rings. My hands began shaking. This was the moment my life would disappear. The man reached for my hand. I looked at my father one last time. He was smiling and talking with guests like everything was normal. That was the final betrayal. Suddenly, I felt calm. The sadness turned into strength. I slowly pulled my hand away. I stood up. I said, "I can't do this. I can't marry him." Everyone stared at me. My stepmother rushed toward me. She said angrily, "Sit down, Nikki." I said, "I am not your property." My father stepped forward. He said, "Nikki, you are making a mistake." I said, "No, I am fixing one." The man looked angry. He said, "You agreed to this marriage?" I said, "I never agreed." My father said, "If you walk out, don't come back." This was the final choice: stay and lose myself, or leave and lose everything else. I took a deep breath. I said, "I will leave." Then I turned around and walked toward the door. Behind me, voices shouted, "Nikki, stop!" But I didn't stop. I didn't look back, not even once. I had no money, no home, no family, but I finally had something important: myself. I walked until I reached a small bus stop. A woman beside me asked, "Are you okay?" I wiped my tears. I said, "I will be." Life after that day was not easy. I worked small jobs, cleaning houses, serving food, helping in shops. Some nights I felt lonely. Sometimes I cried myself to sleep. But every morning I reminded myself why I left. I returned to school. I studied hard. Step by step, I rebuilt my life. Years passed. Sometimes I think about my father. I don't hate him, but I understand something now. Silence can hurt more than cruelty. My stepmother tried to control my life, but she also taught me something important. No one has the right to choose your life for you. Today, I share my story for one reason. Maybe someone listening feels trapped. Maybe someone believes they have no choice. But you always have a choice. Even when it is hard, even when it hurts. Choosing yourself may cost everything, but sometimes it is the only way to truly live. My name is Nikki, and walking away was the bravest thing I ever did. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.